the mix. We're all mestizo. Okay, you can continue. Here's an interesting detail. There's data that signals that 89% of Venezuelans are backing the sovereignty and rejecting the actions of the United States. And I was very intrigued by these percentages because if you compare it with the electoral percentages of the elections, you can say that a great amount of the people who voted against you are also against this attack. I know many percentages that have come out. We have percentages that are infallible to know the whole truth of the public opinion of the people in Venezuela, and also to know a lot about the public opinion of other countries, which is also important. There's technology in the world available to do that, and this survey, Data Viva, and other surveys in Venezuela, who are the most prestigious ones in Venezuela, are saying the exact thing that has happened 6 weeks ago, an aggression, psychological, political, diplomatic, and a military threat against Venezuela from the government of the United States, which was accomplished a national consensus around the defense of the sovereignty and the peace of Venezuela. Today, there's a consensus that goes around over 90% of the population. This is the first accomplishment of the aggression and the threat. The second is that they reduced the extreme left, the extreme right that was supported by them, who everyone knows who they are, Leopoldo Lopez and others. They reduced it to 6% of the support, which is practically in the ways of disappearing. All of the surveys say that they're practically gone. There is a key question which I saw. If Venezuela were to be assaulted, where are you willing to take the arms and defend it? And 68%, an amazing number, said that they were against the United States and their efforts. There's been a great number of consensus that Venezuela should be left alone. No one should mess with Venezuela. And the support to the president of Maduro and the revolutionary government has risen to over 61%, which is the maximum support that we have had, that this man has had, this working president has had since he has been the president in the United States. These are surveys that are done independently. So if they were looking for an effect of making us weaker politically or economically in the country, they have managed to do the contrary. And besides, there's another factor that I'm going to comment, even though you didn't ask. Today we have more international support and human rights organizations and social movements and governments that defend the peace in Latin America, the Caribbean, and the world than before this aggression. That was a question that I wanted to do. There's a lot of key factors that are making me think that the aggression against the victim, in this case Venezuela, makes other people get identified with the victim. Yes, I was saying it today in the meeting. I had a meeting with the 23 governors that we have, with the political bureau of the PSUV, and I was telling them we have taken the situation with a lot of strength, serenity, and we have convoked the whole country to answer. And they have three things: the narrative, the escalate, and an incident. From the narrative, it is totally exaggerated and extravagant. The narrative that they have on Venezuela and the President Maduro and the Bolivarian Revolution is extravagant. No one believes. The narrative has failed. It's false. The escalade is simply with serenity and a lot of strength from the whole country and its armed forces. We have also proven that it was inoperative to call it something. And the incident, by intelligence and wisdom, we managed to it, and we did not give them the chance of having an incident. They were looking for one, as the armed forces have denounced in many communiques. So they failed in the narrative because it was false. As I tell President Trump in his letter, the fake news and in the escalate and the incident, they also failed. The world, and especially the US people, didn't want any more war, and especially not a war in South America and the Caribbean. The people of these regions and in the United States as well, we don't want war. And there was a group there that wanted war, and fortunately, we have managed to denounce it. Inside of those three factors that you mentioned, it's also the dignity. You have said that nobody wants, and Venezuela has put itself in a very brave and dignified position facing the aggression. So yes, Venezuela wants to defend the truth. How are you going to be accused? They can't say of Maduro or from Venezuela that we have a mass destruction weapon, nor that we want to attack the United States. Who can say that? Nobody. They can't say of Maduro or Venezuela that we have nuclear weapons, as they have said of Iraq and Iran and other governments and other countries and brother countries. What they say on Maduro in Venezuela, it's a brutal falsity, which many organizations from the UN and the Customs World Organization and the European Union are proving wrong. And I don't like saying this because I am very wary. Even the DEA reports in the United States say the truth in the past. They might even invent something now, but in the past they were totally coinciding with those by the UN and the World Customs Organization. So the narrative that they try to impose crashed against our truth and against our dignity, because our country hasn't had, nor will ever have, fear to defend their right to be free to live. Like I've said many times, for us, freedom doesn't have an alternative. It's not freedom or slavery. We will never be slaves of anyone, for no supremacist or nobody. Well, the independence doesn't have a choice. It's not independence or colony. The peace doesn't have an alternative, nor does freedom, nor does independence, nor peace, nor dignity have a choice. So if one has a spirituality clear, a glorious story of the great chief of Maicatúa, Bolivar, Zamora, and Chavez, we have to trust that with the truth, we will continue opening the path, and with bravery and preparation, we will be ready to any situation that may come. Also now, taking into account the surveys that we mentioned a while ago, and how the sympathies of some have been descending, like the case of Maria Corina Manchay, Leopoldo Lopez has just said that he agrees with the taking of military measures against Venezuela. I want to tell something to him. He's a sociopath. If they one day invade Venezuela, coward, corrupt, criminal, there's a detail here. The people from the UN, they're many things. Tomorrow is the 80th anniversary